Hello everyone, I'm Garretoakamber, and I'm not appearing on camera for this episode to show you Frostmourne. God, I feel like an idiot. I've been waiting to do this episode for a few weeks now. I'm gonna emote with my hands. Emote! Emote! Okay, no, seriously. I've been waiting 2 weeks. Two is the number that comes after 1. Oh look, it's a little bunny. Okay, seriously. I've been waiting 2 weeks to do this video, and this isn't a true unboxing, this is not a blind boxing. I have seen what's inside the box. You have not yet. Now the reasons that I've seen what's in the box is because of the subject matter here is Frostmourne. Why? It was expensive. Not as expensive as it would have been. So first of all, let's clarify. This is not the official Blizzard Frostmourne. That's impossible to find. And Epic Weapons, who used to make it, are a bunch of hucksters, apparently. And they stopped honoring people's purchases a long time ago. Yes, they stopped making the sword, but swords that they had, like the last 50% of them, they stopped sending them to people. So people were paying, and this was before the internet got smart and said, hey, you can refund shit you don't get. They didn't have that back then, so a lot of people got very angry and spent $400+ on a sword they never purchased. They purchased, but they never got. So, that being said, a lot of bootlegs came out, and this is one of them. This is definitely one of the ones you want to buy if you're buying the now Frostmourne, the bootleg Frostmournes. I was concerned I got the cheap brass one. Now, I like brass as a metal. Brass is fine. When it comes to Frostmourne, it's not. It's a cheap knockoff from overseas, and it's terrible. I've seen people have them. I've seen other unboxing videos, and they fall to pieces. You want one like this. I don't know exactly who bootlegged this. They probably wouldn't say, but I got this from a store in New York, ordered it. They were pretty reputable. I double-checked it. I opened it up. There's only a few small errors with it. Other than that, this is as good as it gets. This is basically Frostmourne. So, anyhow, without further ado, we're going to open the box. I have to be very ginger with my hands because the reason I'm wearing gloves is I injured my finger. I have talked about it, and it is not in a good place. So this hand is almost useless. I'm trying my best to use and do things. The main reason I'm not on camera is because of the size of this goddamn thing. And I figure I'll make this video a little bit different since the last time I spun a lightsaber around like a complete moron. I'm going to be doing an Armoury Series eventually, and I hope you guys will enjoy that. I don't know when I'll be doing that, but the Armoury Series is going to have me doing a lot of crazy stuff. So that'll be worth watching. Anyhow, there is something on the camera. It's bugging me. What are you? Why are you here? No, never mind. That's that's a lighting option. It's telling me there's light. Okay. And speaking of which, I hope the lighting is fine in here because I don't know. This is how it came. This is how I knew, even before looking at the sword, that it wasn't official. I mean, that and the box only says Frostmourne on it. It says made in China, which I don't believe the official one is made in China. Doesn't matter. This is one of the good Chinese companies. Another thing, too, is to reassure us that this is Frostmourne. They've included artwork of Epic Weapons, Frostmourne, and I don't know if the camera's picking that up properly, but hopefully it is. So, I mean, obviously this is not the official thing. Plus, the cardboard is kind of cheap. But we're not here for the box. There's supposed to be a whole bunch of artwork that says Blizzard Entertainment. In fact, the box underneath is not supposed to be this shitty box. In fact, the entire styrofoam casing is wrong. The only thing they got right was the Frostmourne container meld So, we're going to move this. Okay. In the Armoury series that I'll eventually be doing, and I'll be showcasing the sword and a few other things, I'll be taking the weapons out and I'll be showing everyone, you know, the height. I'll be talking more about what the weapon's used for, but let me just say right off the bat, there is no carbon steel version of Frostmourne that you can buy. Unless you happen to know a smith, unless you happen to know somebody who can actually make you one, it doesn't exist. This is a fact. So, Frostmourne comes in a... Oh man, it's so hard to pick it up. Oh, I don't even... See, this is another thing too. I don't think I'm going to be able to pick it up properly. Okay. No, come on. I picked you up before. There we go. Oh. This is not 17 pounds. Frostmourne from Epic Weapons is 17 pounds. This sword, I think, is 15. It doesn't matter. It is immensely, immensely heavy. Now, another thing is, I knew instantly when I opened it that it wasn't Frostmourne, because it's supposed to come with an authenticator. There is no authenticator. The things over here are not authenticators. They are things for the weapon rack, which comes underneath. I'm not going to bother showing you that for now, for the sole reason that it is literally a plaque made of wood that you hang this damn thing up on the wall. Okay. Now, we will take Frostmourne out so you can see it a bit more. I absolutely love it though. I'm not salty. I knew there was a good chance this wouldn't be real. Well, official. It's not real. There is no real Frostmourne. These are all stainless steel. Stainless steel is basically steel that is treated in such a way, and it is molded. It is not forged. As beautiful as this would shatter like ice if I hit it with my real sword. God given, this is incredibly thick. Let's see if we can see the thickness on that. That is pretty frickin' thick. So, Frostmourne is quite beautiful. It's reflecting all the light. It is incredibly heavy, and I need to rest my arms because, again, my hand is bust. And this whole review is not as nearly as elaborate as I wanted it to be, but I figured I was doing it anyways, and I'm definitely going to make up for it probably a month from now. I would say a good estimate before my hand heals to do the Armoury Series. I wanted to do the Armoury Series earlier, but again, one bust hand makes handling heavy metal pretty hard to do. Okay, just off camera, when I was moving the sword, I committed a huge no-no. I put my wrist against the curved blades here, and it almost cut me. This is not sharp. It looks sharp, but it's actually false-edged. A lot of licensed weapons that are made into stainless steel props have to be false-edged, so that the artists, the designers of it, can claim no liability. No liability if you get cut because you're an asshole. No, but seriously, you can't sue them if you get cut on a weapon that's not supposed to be real. You can try. Doesn't work though. False-edged. I can take off this hand. This hand's fine. I don't have to wear the glove. Only reason I have it is to make this one feel special. So I can do that all I want. It's not sharp at all. The tip is sharp, but this is sharp enough if I apply pressure on the very point here. Ow, I can hurt myself. Now, probably not going to have enough traction to pick it up. I'm trying to do this with one hand each time, because again, this hand is a little hurt. This hand is not. 15 pounds in one hand, though. That's, for me, that's crazy. And it might not sound like a lot to you. I mean, 15 pounds, it's like, oh, it's only the number 15. No, that's pretty fucking heavy. For a sword, most of the weight is in the main area here. Unfortunately, it's imbalanced because this isn't a real weapon, so what ends up... I mean, it's balanced for what it is, but it's imbalanced when it comes to spacing said weight. So what happens is most of the weight rests at the connector here. So the blade, the thick-ass blade, meeting up with the head of Frostmourne is incredibly heavy. So, much to my amazement, despite this being a bootleg, it's as legit as you can possibly get. What is it missing other than an authenticator chip? Well, as you can see, it's got the runes there, and they actually look quite beautiful in the camera. I wish I had a higher resolution camera, honestly, but beggars can't be choosers. I chose to get a sword rather than a camera. Maybe next time I'll get a camera. It's got all the intricate artwork. It's got an actual leather handle, and it's a great sword, obviously, so it's got two areas here with the rings, exactly like it does in the artwork. The pommel is beautifully sculpted. They've even included the gold accents that the legitimate one does. The painting on the gold is not as good. It doesn't matter. My purpose is for this as a wall mount collector's piece, and above all else, taking it to Renaissance fairs. I need to get a custom scabbard for it, obviously, because you can't, even though it's false edged, you can't just take it out without the scabbard, unless I was working there, which is not going to happen. I would love to work at a Renaissance fair, but I'm pretty sure plenty of Renaissance fairs have enough actors. So, it's a workout just lifting this thing up. Mind you, I don't lift weights, so yeah, gonna have to lift some weights to show this thing off. So let's get a better vantage point, shall we? You also have to forgive me for having a slight asthma attack. I have been having an asthma attack today. It is not fun, and I've misplaced my inhaler. For those of you who know me, it's not the worst, so if I sound raspy, I am struggling to breathe. I'm not gonna die. At least not yet. Okay, so I decided this would be a nice little scenic thing. I have a fish over there in a fishbowl, and I have a, whatever the hell that is, some sort of radio. Okay, well, this is Frostmourne. A little bit more up close and personal. And, yeah, it is a beautiful sword, beautiful sword. The proportions are right. They are accurate. It is a little bit shorter. Only a little bit. Like, everything else is accurate, because this is molded off the real sword, so... Well, real. Again, terminologies here. It's molded off of Epic Weapons sword. It's a little bit shorter, and I think the length where it's most short comes from the handle, because they can't exactly mold the handle properly, and that's again why the handle seems to be the least... I mean, it's accurate, but it's less accurate than the blade. The blade parts are expertly molded. It's duller on the sides. The beveling here is a lot duller. It's still, you know, it's nicely formed, but it is far duller than Epic Weapons Frostmourne. That's because they actually machine cut that all the way through. This is cast from that, so it's lost a lot of its sharpness. Now, I have to get on one knee here. Another thing is there are cracks in both the blade and the side blades in the actual Epic Weapons Frostmourne. These are supposed to mirror the cracks that formed on Frostmourne when Arthas released its power to... I'm getting into lore here. This is happening. I'm getting into lore. Arthas releases his power in the cinematic for Wrath of the Lich King to release Sindragosa. And this causes cracks to appear in the blade. So, these are not present. Am I disappointed? Well, maybe a little bit that I didn't get the Epic Weapons version for, you know, half the price. However, the sword is accurate in every way, shape, and form. It's not a real weapon, so I'm not disappointed. I wasn't buying it to slash it against another sword or a shield. I bought it to look pretty, be a nice costume accessory, and to just, I can hold Frostmourne, I can hold this damn thing. So, it's nice. If anything, this is the version of Frostmourne before Arthas slammed it into the ground. So that's what I like about it. Now, there is a few caveats here. There's a few problems with the blade that I'll mention. Well, first of all, it is a costume sword, so the handle isn't entirely solidified on. I mean, it is screwed on in several places. In fact, the entire handle is portion by portion, and they're all screwed together. So if you tried to use this in rigorous combat, it would eventually loosen and the sword would slip and spin out of your hand. So obviously, again, stainless steel weapons are not designed for combat, despite what a lot of kids on eBay have told you. This is not true. Second of all, despite this, you could fix it to make the handle more solidified, because there is a solid metal bar running through. So it's like they half wanted you to run someone through with this. However, you're not going to do that. Now, that's not really the problem. I could care less about the integrity of the handle. There are some small little painfully evident cast marks. Again, you really won't be able to see it. Doesn't matter how far I'm going to zoom. It doesn't matter which direction I hold the blade. The eye can really see it. There is a line on the handle there. In fact, you can even see hints of it at the connector points for Frostmourne. There's a line for the casting, so they put each part of the ram's skull in and they cast it. You know, I got all molten and delicious. And there's a few parts that are blemished, a few parts that are kind of like, they're in there, they're a little bit gooey. How do I describe that? It didn't cast properly and they didn't cut it off in time. So it's kind of like a poorly molded piece of plastic. In fact, there's a little nip. A little nip. See that little spike there? That's not supposed to be there. Not the big spike, obviously, the little one. It doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter. This, I mean, otherwise they did a fantastic job of replicating the sword that I was never going to be able to purchase in the first place. And, yeah. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous replication. Blade is, you know, still, it's a mirrored polish. It's fine. It's me. Hello. It's a beautiful weapon. I mean, it's gorgeous. I'm not upset in the least that it's a bootleg. I half expected it would be for the price. I was committed to getting it because when am I ever going to get a Frostmourne? You know? And I mean, this is one of the good bootlegs. So, again, if you're looking for Frostmourne, you're probably not going to find the Epic Weapons one. But you'll find plenty of these from the same exact people. And I don't know who made this. I just know that I got it from eBay. It was half price from the original. It was from a reputable buyer. And it's silver colored. Well, technically nickel colored, but it's, you know, you don't want the brass one. There's a brass one that's been going around, and they even tried to take pictures of it to make it look like the Epic Weapons one. It's a lie, and the brass one falls to pieces. And it's got all sorts of crusties everywhere, too. Another thing, too, that was a dead giveaway, too, that this wasn't the real Frostmourne, was the shadowing on the ram skull and some of the finer parts is not nearly as dark as the official Frostmourne. Official Frostmourne, all the, you know, etchings and things on the blade are a lot darker. I think the runes are exactly the same, but that's hard to tell considering I've never held the real thing. Pictures can only show so much, but I know for a fact all the areas here, all the nooks and crannies, the eyes, are a lot darker. That's nothing that I can't remedy for myself. I could always paint them in, or get an expert person to dye it. I know that sounds silly, dyeing stainless steel, but there's a way of doing it. It's pretty much the same thing as etching these blade marks and things like that. So, yes, if I wanted it to look a bit darker, I could do that. For the most part, it is an accurate representation of Frostmourne. And, I mean, it's still going to look badass. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's a heavy friggin' piece of steel. And it looks so imposing and beautiful. And when I go to a fair or whatever, and I've got this thing strapped to a, belt that's in its holster, that's going to cost me a bit. That's probably going to cost more than the damn sword, but it'll be worth it in the long run. It's going to look amazing. And that's kind of the point, right? You buy things because you like them, you enjoy them, and you think they look amazing. It's okay to splurge once in a while. Don't do it very often, though. Otherwise, you end up with a lot of stuff you can't really do anything with. I mean, I could cut some steak with this thing. I mean, it's not that sharp, but if I slam it down on a board, oh, it's going to take out, anything. Yeah, so that's all I really have to say for now. I will be doing a Armoury Series eventually, and it will be featuring Frostmourne, including the LARP version of Frostmourne, which I've had for a few years now. LARP version of Frostmourne is official. It is from the makers of it. I believe it was not Heroes Armory Conquest Series. So something. They're still around. They make LARP weapons. They made the Conan swords and the Conan weapons for LARP. And if you don't know what LARP is, it's live action role playing. So I have the official LARP Frostmourne. I will not be doing that in this episode. This is the unboxing of this, just to show you guys what's up with it. It is a beautiful weapon. I'm sorry I didn't do something more elaborate. I was going to go outside. There's a beautiful red dawn, literally. It's so pretty out there. And I missed the window for it. I mean, I caught a little bit on camera, but I was late. I didn't want to have to, go out and wave this thing around, and I'm very tired, frankly. I'm very tired, and I'm still, my hand is killing me right now doing this review. It is hurting so much, and that's another reason I'm not showing my face too much, because honestly I'm wincing half the time. So yeah, if you need to know more, I peeled a nail back, and it was pretty awful. So thank you all so much for watching. I would say, hey, you want to see more unboxing videos, but I'm not buying anything for a while now. So, if you want to see the Star Wars lightsabers unboxing, I do have that video, and I'll probably link that there somewhere in the video, here at the end, I don't know, somewhere. Yeah, so for the Armoury Series, I'll talk a bit about that right now. The Armoury Series is going to be me showing off a lot of the stuff that I have. I have been an avid collector of weaponry and just extravagant medieval costumes and things like that. So I'll probably open it up with something very humble, very small, probably a helmet, probably my swords. Then I'll get on to weapon pairs, obviously Frostmourne and its LARP counterpart. There is the same people that cast this actually made a longsword version of Frostmourne. Would have been nicer on the, weight side, easier to store, but I wanted the official, two-handed Frostmourne, because Frostmourne, although Arthas uses it a lot as a one-hander, he's not human anymore. You have to remember, he's incredibly strong. And he does still wield it as a two-hander oftentimes. Most part, he uses his power through the sword with his free hand. Doesn't ever really have to wield Frostmourne until the final killing blow. So that's another thing. A lot of people are like, oh, Frostmourne's a one-hander. It's not a one-hander. It's not a one-hander. It's just it offers so much power, and because he became the Lich King, he was able to wield more power than the actual sword had to offer. So, yeah, there's a lot of debate about that, but the truth is it's a two-handed sword. It is not a bastard sword, despite the nice grip design here. It would indicate, oh yeah, you could switch between the two. This sword is very unwieldy at times, only because of the edging. I mean, it's dug into my hands more than once. You need to be wearing gloves and bracers to accurately swing this thing. And again, this is a stainless steel sword, and that probably isn't recommended. But anyhow, I've been rambling for too long. Most of this information will be in the Armoury, and I'll see you all in the next episode of Skyrim, 7 Days to Die, any co-op games. Thank you all so much for what I'm pointing the wrong direction there. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.
And now we'll observe the natural state of my backyard. We see the trees in the background, just doing plant things, as some asshole decides to try to juggle Frostmourne for no apparent reason. And for reasons no one can explain, the trees are moving behind him, because they might yet be alive. Isn't that the point after all? Trees, living, breathing, making screaming sounds in the middle of the night, as some jackass goes out there and tries to roleplay his Death Knight character from LARP, which he never actually got to roll because he quit doing LARP a while ago. Not because he wanted to, but because that bush has got ownership of his cloak, and he is struggling to cut it free. But he sucks at doing so the bush is going to keep catching on his cloak, making it look like a small little furry creature is pulling at his cloak. And now he stares menacingly into the camera, and all the trees are excited. They are very active.